Okay, we'll see if we're up and running here. See if we've got everything working. We've got big news here. So maybe some of you know what's going on. Maybe some of you don't. Let's see. Okay, looks like I'm live and I got a couple folks on. So that's great. Yeah, so if you're just jumping on, the much anticipated eruption in Iceland has begun. I have screens up here from live from Iceland, which is another great place you can go to see the webcams on YouTube. And the eruption began, yeah, maybe like 20 minutes ago. So I don't even have a clock near me. About 3:30 Mountain Standard Time. So that would be 10:30 p.m. in Iceland. Gosh, it's perfect that it's at night because it's just always so incredible when you can see the incandescent glow. And because I only learned about this a few minutes ago, I'll share with you what I can, which may not be a lot. Let's see. Oh, I don't have the screen up yet. Here we go. Okay, so hopefully I'm getting this set up. Thanks for bearing with me here. And let's see, do I have the screen up? I don't think I have it up there. There we go. So now I've got the eruption up. There we go. It's working now. Awesome. So thanks for those of you that are jumping on with me. I'll provide what I can here. Just realize that this is obviously impromptu, unrehearsed, and we're doing this on the fly. And there's lots of information flying out there, probably in real time. So appreciate you coming on here with me. It looks like the eruptive site, as best I've been able to deduce in the few minutes I've been here. And if I sound like I'm somewhat with you and somewhat distant, it's because I've got two monitors open and I'm trying to read and kind of see what's going on at the same time. So, but basically, just to give you a little background here, when I checked earlier today, we had some earthquakes, but looked a lot like the last couple weeks. And then I was gone most of the day out and about, Christmas shopping, whatnot, and then hadn't even bothered to check again. And then I got a message and looked, and the earthquake data, which I'll pull up here in a minute, makes it look like it ramped up pretty quickly. So I haven't gone in and looked at all the analysis here, but my hunch is that this thing escalated quite quickly with frequent earthquakes that became shallower until it commenced with the eruption. And so it more or less, I think it kind of went to script. We've been watching the GPS uplift. That magma had been rising and rising back over here in the area around the power plant. And after it pushed over into that sill, and we'd seen it get pretty much back to that pre-November 10 elevation. And that was apparently the trigger point. Once it had repressurized and filled that space and those fractures, it became overpressurized, and now we have a full-on vent that is erupting. And so what you can see in the view here, I'll kind of walk you through these. They've got three webcams that can detect it. If you're seeing some shaking in some of the webcams, that's most likely wind and not, earthquake activity or something that looks crazy like that. Probably the best camera is this bottom left one, which is the one on Mount Thorbjorn, which is just north of Grindavik. And let's see. So we'll watch this for a second. It's pretty mesmerizing. I would guess those lava fountains. So it's a typical Icelandic eruption. What we typically see, you can see it's forming a fissure system. So it's erupting from a long crack or series of cracks. And I would guess that that lava is being pumped up. I'm sure there's probably some estimates being made already, but we're probably looking at maybe up to maybe 50, maybe 100 meters max. Again, I don't have much scale there, so I'm not sure. And then in the bottom right, they've got the earthquake data. So we might see some more quakes, but now that the vent has been established and that it's pretty much now that the vent's been established, the earthquakes aren't going to be the main theme going on. Of course, the big questions now that we've got an eruption happening would be, where's the lava going and how long is the eruption going to last? Those would be some of the things that folks would want to know. I'm going to kind of look in some of these other places here and see if I can find some more information. The Met Office only says that an eruption has begun, and that makes sense. So they've just let people know that the eruption has begun. I'm sure they're getting, they're plenty busy trying to figure out how this is going to play out and what they can do for public safety and that sort of thing. Let's see. I'm going to see if there is. Let's see. There's one little video that someone has here. It looks like that shows sort of the moment it begins. So maybe I'll show you guys that. It's not the best view, and it's just on Facebook, and there's no sound. But let me show you what I can here. So let me pull this over here. So this is, yeah, there it is right there. Let's go back a little bit. So there's, the evening, and then as we roll this thing forward, boom, right there. So there it is, just the vent opening and the eruption beginning right there. Again, this is all happening kind of live, and I'm a one-person kind of crew here. So apologize for the information. In terms of how long this might last, this is pretty close to, someone's asking where on the red line it is. Let me give you a better view. I don't have a total pinpointed location yet of where this is, but we can see with the earthquakes reveal a lot here. And so let me kind of get this oriented a little better for you. And so you can see this is, last 24 hours. And you can see there's quite a few twos in there. So this is definitely a ramp up in earthquake activity over what we've seen the last few days. I mean, on an average day, we might have one or so earthquakes. So I think where the eruption is taking place, so the power plant is, so the webcam's here on the mountain. Here's the town, Grindavik. And let's actually, to make this a little cleaner, let's just take the earthquakes out. There we go. I believe the eruption's somewhere in here. So I think it's north of Hagafelt, which is this hill. And then this hill here is called Selingerfelt. And I think we're looking at eruptions somewhere in here. So in terms of that magical red line that we've seen on different graphics, it's pretty close to that. And so I think these earthquakes here, this linear arrangement here is pretty close. So definitely in this region here. So given the topography, we're looking at the lava. It's definitely going to flow to the south. Depending on exactly where this vent is, it could move down this way towards the town. It could go either way around Hagafeld, this hill right here. So I think it's a little too early to tell exactly where it's going to go. But there's a chance, depending on exactly where the vent is and the topography, that some of it might be headed a little bit more to the southeast, which would be good for the residents there. Crazy timing, though, in terms of when this thing is taking place. You might have seen, I had the drone up this morning. The team I'm working with at Nature they have their drone guy is on his way right now. And so the plan is to live stream this again. So it'll be their live stream, but it's going to be routed through mine as well. So I'll be up flying the drone here at night, probably with a little bit of help from Johan, and probably within the hour or so, we should be able to be giving you some live footage, not from a webcam, but actually flying around with the drone. So pretty incredible. In fact, I'm getting text messages from them. So again, I probably won't have the time or bandwidth to jump on and answer all your questions. And because there's just a lot coming at me fast and furious. And people are notoriously bad at multitasking. But let me see if I can at least look through a few questions here and see what's happening. So live from Iceland is what you'd want to pull up here if you want to see some of the webcams, great views. And let's see if we can isolate, see if we can just isolate that one webcam, because obviously that bottom left one is the best of the three. I think we would all agree with that. Let's see. Yeah, so we'll be live streaming soon with the drone. I just got confirmation from Nature Eye. Let's see if we can find that exact webcam and put that one up. I think it's gonna be, where's it at? Yeah, let's look at, there's actually a couple here I want to check out. This is the one by the, okay, so some of these aren't as exciting. So the one from the power plant area looking to the east shows absolutely nothing. I can pull these over here so you guys can see these while I'm kind of looking through them. So there's that one. Okay, so there's the best one. So this one, if you want to find this on your own, is the Fagradalsfjall camera. So this is the hill immediately north of Grindavik. This is that webcam location, but looking to the east. And they probably got it zoomed in some amount there. Maybe, maybe not. And then we can zoom in it a little bit ourselves. So we can see, this is great. We can actually see some of the, this is called lava fountaining. So again, this is low viscosity lava. The gas pressure is what is propelling it upwards, but it's not producing much ash. There is some gas coming out with this and maybe some fine ash, but this is not a big ash producing eruption. In the world of volcanic eruptions, this is a tourist friendly and a nice eruption. It's just spewing out mainly lava. Now, of course, if the lava goes into town, that's not so good. But you can see how runny this lava is as we look. And they kind of zoom in and out as they go a little bit, but it moves around. So you can see the nice fire fountaining and the crack running along the length of it here. But I think we can bring it back this way a bit. You can see it just running down. So it's already started to make some cones, unless that's older topography there. It could also be, and then we're actually starting to see the flows feeding out, right? So this lava just shoots out of this crack, falls down fairly close to the vent, but because it's still so hot and molten, it's able to still flow away from the vent. And that's what's going to feed these lava flows that are going to get longer and have more volume to them as we go forward. So we can see this lava flow here extending, assuming we're looking east, that would be to the north there. So some of it going into this direction. But the main topography would take it, I believe, to the right or to the south. But there is some flattish areas in here where some of this lava may be ponding up in some places. Yeah, so this is located further southwest than the previous three eruptions. And what we really want to find out here, and hopefully we can do this with the drone. In fact, I'm pretty sure once we get our drone up, we'll be able to see the extent. I mean, it's perfect in a way that this is happening at night, because that glowing lava will just be the only thing other than the lights of the city that'll really kind of catch our eye, that we'll be able to see. Yeah, pretty spectacular. And sorry, I'm sending a text real quick, so if I'm not totally responding well, I'll just let you watch that for a second. Let me just send this real quick. Apologize. The drone company is asking for some of my login details. Yeah, so we would expect this to, I would expect this to go on for maybe, it's hard to say because it's so early in the eruption. We're definitely looking at this happening for days, I would say that's a safe bet. I think weeks is a very strong possibility. There's better than a 50-50 chance that this eruption continues into the new year. Will it last a month or more? Maybe. That 2021 eruption lasted 6 months. 6 months. The August 2022 eruption was much more short-lived. It only lasted, I think, maybe 6 weeks or so all total. And then this last summer's eruption was maybe about 6 weeks as well. So it's really a matter of, now that we have a clear plumbing system, a conduit from the magma reservoir, which is in the subsurface, and the surface where the lava is coming out, it's just a matter of how much magma is there to be erupted. You've cleared the system. There's no more, the magma doesn't have to fight its way to the surface. It's got a clear path all the way through. And so, how much magma is down there to erupt? That would be the big question there. So I will try to get to a couple questions here, but probably in maybe 10 minutes or so, I'll need to sign off as I get ready to do the drone. I think that's something you'd want to see. So you might see my YouTube channel go, this live stream will end, but then another one should pick back up, because they've got to run the live stream through theirs. And then I'm going to send a little quick message here to some folks that might give me some more information. Okay, so Amanda Joe's probably watching, and I just sent her a message because she's probably better able than I am right now to answer some of these questions. So, and at the same time as we're watching this, and we're all kind of excited because eruptions are fun and exciting to watch, let's all also remember that there is a community downslope. There are people's homes downslope, and we're not sure exactly how this is going to play out. In a sense, though, you could make an argument that it's good that it started, right? That they've been waiting to be able to get back into their homes. And now with an eruption beginning, this will have an end, however long that is into the future. And that will mean a new beginning. Hopefully these flows are not headed for the town, and then it's just a nice tourist attraction, and those people in Grindavik can get back to their homes. But yeah, so as we're watching this and we're excited to enjoy this Earth spectacle and the science, let's just all remember that. I think that's just a good perspective. And that's different than a lot of the eruptions I've been to, where it's just, up in some valley somewhere and then you just kind of enjoy it. But in 2018 in Hawaii, it was awesome. It was amazing, but it was somewhat somber because of the loss of homes and some of the sadness that happened in that lower East Rift zone on the Big Island when so many homes were lost to that eruption. So yeah, I don't have any info right now on the power plant, or now this is further east of the power plant. So maybe we'll go back to, and I'm going to use Google Earth here. I know that's maybe not the best view, but this I think will help a little bit because everything else is kind of dark right now. So if we put the power plant and the Blue Lagoon up on there, and we probably have an eruption now that's, the red line is this older chain of craters. We're probably looking at eruption now. I'll go ahead and let's go ahead and stick a pin here until we can get a solid location of exactly where this is. And if someone does know exactly where this is in terms of like a lat long, or at least something close, you don't have to be spot on. That would be great if someone could send that to me, maybe by email. So it's probably somewhere in here. Like let's not say that it's exactly there, but let's put December 2023 on the map there. So I think depending on exactly where this is, if this is a little further north, then there's possibility of lava flowing around Silingerfeld, this hill here and flowing in towards the power plant. And then there's also this little channel right through here. And so those are some of the possible paths when we're looking at the power plant. And the power plant's probably the preeminent concern just based on proximity. It's so much closer to the vent that the power plant and the Blue Lagoon are something that we'd probably want to think about right away. Hold on, one more quick email here. Okay, sorry. A bit of a three-ring circus here. I've got 2 monitors, a phone up. The good folks at Nature Eye texting me. So let's see, I got one more thing to do here. And I do want to get back to your questions. Let's see. Yeah, so let's go back to the eruption. That was a little better. Well, especially while I'm trying to juggle a couple things here. So again, you can see the fire fountains there. And I'm really interested to see, I would think the black, like you can see there's some topography there. I wonder if that's pre-existing topography, because it seems like with this eruption being so new, I don't think it's had time to build up its own cone yet. So I'm guessing that some of this black, you can see that these small hills right along the fissure, those are probably pre-existing topography, like maybe other little hills or older cones that are right there. Sorry, one more text message I'm sending out. But this is going to be exciting. I'm excited to fly the drone. We obviously won't be able to fly directly above the eruptive site for a number of reasons. One, it's in the restricted airspace that the public officials have set aside. Two, I don't want to ruin the drone. So there's a tremendous amount of heat that this puts out, even hundreds, if not 1,000 or more feet or meters above the vent. It's putting out a lot of heat, and I don't know what how the drone responds to that. We've got the gases, maybe some of this fine ash that's also in there as well. So for many reasons, it's not a good idea to fly this thing directly over the vent. But we should be able to get a nice view obliquely. I mean, this is exactly the area that we had really good view of is today when we did the first little overflight this morning when I flew the drone and was able to look right down into Grindavik. And what I'm also excited to do is, the webcam, you can only have so much control with the webcam and a little bit of zooming, but when we get the drone in there, we should be able to zoom in nicely on some of these vents and these fountains of lava and really see it. The one thing that's missing here, if you've never seen an eruption, is it's really a multi-sensory experience with not just the lava fountaining, but you have the sights and smells. You can sometimes feel the heat. It's just a pretty incredible experience all the way around. So. Oh, and then our good friend Johan, who is our drone operator in Iceland, sent me an email, and he could see from his window near Reykjavik, he could see the glow in the distance. He could see that the eruption had begun and that glow there. So let's try a couple other things here as we're looking at the eruption. Yeah, some people are asking, and again, I apologize. You're all asking great questions. Someone's asking if I'm in Iceland. No, I'm in Idaho, but I am going to remotely operate a drone that is in Iceland that is being set up right now. And I will fly as close as I can, get some nice views. That flight will probably be about 30 minutes. If we want to go longer, we can land it quickly, put in a new battery, and do another 30 minutes or so. But a lot of the questions you guys have about how long is the fissure, exactly where it is. The folks in Grindavik, those are things I just don't have answers to just yet. So again, if anyone's doing some good research on the side and has found any information about the exact location of the vent, please send that to me, and maybe send it to me via email, shawnwillsey@gmail.com. That would be best, because right now the little live chat scroll is just too much. What direction is the webcam facing us, Glenn? We are looking to the northeast from, I'll show you on Google Earth here, just give you a little orientation. So we are, so here's Grindavik, and the webcam is right on this hill here, and it's looking to the east, northeast. So we are looking at an eruption somewhere in this area. And then again, for a little bit of context, the 3 previous eruptions took place over in this area. So we had the last 3 years of eruptions were here, and now we've got one taking place here. So a different system, right? These ones sort of line up. You could see that there's some a common linear trend or closely to these. This is in a little bit different system here. So too early to say if it's completely related to the same magma source or volcanic system. Yeah, so let's see. Yeah, and if some of you have no idea what I'm talking about with the drone, this morning, with the company Nature Eye had reached out to me a few weeks ago, introduced me to their concept of remote flying drones, and knew that, you know, with all the things happening in Iceland, that there might be a good opportunity there. And so they wanted to get me involved, kind of providing the geology content. So it's a nice pairing between us. So let's see, someone's just sent me a news article. So let's see what we've got here. Volcanic eruption has started around 9 p.m. in Iceland. Strong earthquake swarm. Oh, that's when the the swarm is still in full motion. Yeah, it was the largest quake was magnitude 4.2. Yeah, and it's pretty close to Hagafelt. So, and according to one of the Icelandic geologists, he is characterizing the location of the vent. I'll just go ahead and quote him. I'll drag this over here so you guys can see. This is Thorvald Thordarson. This is the word. This is quote. This is his quote. This is the worst place. It looks like it. West of the pasture and up there, and then probably up through the Sunnunakur crater row. We are just north of it. There are super high plumes of magma. Now it's a total guess, but the highest plumes are probably 150 meters. That means the lava is flowing very quickly from the crater. This may be close to the worst case imaginable, unfortunately. So his view of what's happening right now is not good in terms of people in Grindavik. So, which somewhat ironic in a way, because I had just seen something this afternoon on one of the Iceland news stations, and I don't remember exactly, but the idea was that they had discussed maybe letting these people back into their homes overnight around Christmas time, and that appears to not be even on the table at this point. So really quite unfortunate there. And let's see. Yeah, and what's great about this multi-view here is now you can see this top left view. So this is gosh, where's this one at? I'm not sure. Oh, this is looking to the west. Yeah, towards Hagafelt. So this is looking back towards the coastline. But with this top left view, you're actually able to start seeing how quickly the lava is spreading out. So I guess what I'm trying to say here is this fissure system, which I'm not sure exactly how long it is, but if it encompasses this view here, we're probably looking at a few kilometers long, potentially. And with the amount of lava that it seems to be erupting, there is a very good chance that this is producing lava flows that are going to move. They're going to move quickly. Now the topography there is not super steep, but it's sloped enough that it's going to start moving. You've got such a large supply of lava in terms of volume that it's really going to start moving. Yeah, and so then we can zoom in a little bit and see these things. It's a fascinating eruption. It's great. It's just somewhat tempered with knowing that there's a whole beautiful little community downslope, and so it, it's it, it's conflicting emotions, I suppose. That's the way I'm sort of feeling right now. I feel like I'm watching. On one hand, I'm watching an eruption, and anytime I see an eruption, it's exciting, but there's just kind of hitting the bottom of my stomach and this sort of sense of dread. But we can have some hope here. The good news, one bit of good news, I suppose, is that they had pretty much just finished the power plant berm or wall. So that may be put to the test. That may be put to the test in the next few hours or days, and we'll have to see if it's tall enough and it's effective enough. Again, there's so many nuances in terms of where this thing's going to go and which direction this goes. And those of you who are sending me some emails, I appreciate that. Very helpful. Obviously, kind of doing this on your own is tricky. Ian sent me a video. If you go back in this video 55 minutes to the start, there's enough illumination from other light that you can see where it is with respect to the berm they're building. Okay, so go back 55 minutes. Okay, is that? Oh, I think I see what he's saying here. So yeah, let me switch views here. This is great. I think I knew you could do this. So I've actually gone back in time on the webcam. So now we're looking right into town. And I'm just kind of skipping forward a little bit here. And then let's see, is it going to switch to, so we're not live anymore, just so everyone's very clear on what's happening. Amanda Joe's just told me that the workers are safe and the power plant is operating. So that's good news. And Amanda, thank you for those updates and keep sending those as best you can. Oh, I guess I got to play it now. So this is just panning around. This would be looking more towards the southeast side of town. So is there going to be something dramatic that happens here? So we're just looking back at the webcam footage to see. That's probably a different town in the distance reflected off the clouds. You got snow and clouds there, so light will reflect. In fact, I bet when we get the drone up there, it'll almost look like, in places it could look a bit like daytime, with all the snow and the clouds reflecting things. Okay, so apparently it's somewhere right in here is when it begins. Sorry, I'm just trying this. This was Ian in New Zealand sent me this, and so I'm hoping this shows the exact moment that it starts erupting. I mean, that's pretty cool when you can actually see a vent open. I've seen that a few times. So let's see, it's still playing. There's that may be some of the workers working on the berm right there, because now we're looking back to the north, I believe. And I don't know if the camera's just kind of catching or whatnot. So let's see. Anything else? Well, I can see if I move forward oh, okay. I think we're about to see it here, maybe. Or maybe I'm just not patient enough. Apologize, folks. Trying to get this dialed in. So that's, I guess, when it starts there. So you can see in the lower left. Oh, this is, yeah, it's moving. That's actually okay. So that's it starting. Wow, that's fantastic. So if I got that right, and I'm trying to figure this out along with many of you, we've got the power plant workers in the berm here. I think we're looking south or southwest, and then boom, right there. That's great. Ian Stewart from New Zealand, thank you so much for sending that. Wow, that's really impressive. just really awesome. Yeah, I mean, really, it almost looks like a atomic bomb detonation, right? Just that initial just flash of incandescent lava being thrown into the sky, just all that pressure that had been built up in the subsurface for, well, the last few months for sure, but even beyond that. And then I don't know if someone, probably the webcam operators, saw that it was opening. So you can see it starts in one place, right? But then that fissure, that crack extends quite quickly. It opens up almost like a pair of scissors and propagates, and that's when it's much more lengthy in terms of its extent, kind of like we were seeing, we saw on the live cam now. So this would have been maybe an hour or so ago, I guess, as the ish, yeah, about an hour ago. And then we could skip through a little bit. Now you can see, you know, a few minutes later, it's lengthened, multiple vents opening up. So once you can kind of get that pressure relieved in one place, it's easier for it to start breaking through. You can see this vent here, and then these things can become connected over time. So there definitely was topography there. There was some set of hills, and I just don't know yet if that's the Sununukur craters, the older craters that erupted in about 800 years ago. And then if we skip forward a little bit, presumably we're going to see it just get, yeah, longer and pushing more volume out over time. So Ian Stewart, New Zealand, thank you so much. That was great. I probably would have found that eventually days from now, but it was definitely helpful to have you bring that to our attention now and be able to share that with everyone. So okay, I'm going to keep that link you sent me because that was great. So let's go back to, so now we're live again. So here's our live view once more. Yeah, I would imagine, you know, it's nighttime there. It's cold outside. They probably set up some sort of perimeter to keep people away from the eruption to some degree. People at the Blue Lagoon, I imagine, since it was evening time, late evening, that their 9 o'clock curfew had pretty much passed, so they're probably gone as well. Amanda Joe tells me that there are 2 flows. Let me catch up to her. 2 flows headed toward Grindavik and 1 towards Vogar. And Vogar is isn't over here more? I think so. Let's find it real quick. Oh, wow. Okay, so that's right. So so 1 flow is moving north towards this community. Now that's a long distance for it to travel. It's going to be, assuming the output going north and south is more or less the same. And she also says that the eruption site, and thank you, Amanda Joe, I'm just kind of getting back to what you had said, is pretty much close to my little triangle there between Silingerfeld and Hagafeld. So between these 2 hills, and let me go ahead and outline those. I had those already kind of pinned. So our vents are opening up here so I'm now very confident, quite confident that the topography we were seeing with the vents was along these older craters here. Let me go ahead and get rid of the red line just so you can see there's already a set of craters there from that eruption 800 years ago, and it's reoccupying largely that crater system, which makes sense because when you open up a system like this, you're going to end up with fractures. Usually at the waning part of the eruption, the lava will actually drain back down. And so you still end up with open fractures. So it's not surprising to me that it has reoccupied this older set of fractures and cracks here. But now, according to Amanda Joe, some of the lava is headed, there's 2 flows, she said, headed towards Grindavik, and so I would guess then that there's maybe 2 flows because there's a lobe heading on the west side of Hagafeld and 1 on the east side. But then she also says, and she's probably getting information on the ground as best she can, so we'll take it for what it's worth right now because we're all just sort of trying to do the best we can. But then also some lava flowing this way. The lava flow to the north, though, I'm not really concerned about because again, it's a big distance to go, and this topography is pretty flat in here. So I'm not worried about any lava flow reaching this main road over here. Let's get the roads on. This road that goes from Reykjavik over to the airport anytime soon. I think the real concern right now needs to be the power plant, the Blue Lagoon, and Grindavik, in addition to people, their safety, and the roads as well. Yeah, 2 pass. Let's see. She's just got on my stream. And she right now is in near outside Reykjavik out here in this town here. Let's go back to the live footage here. And again, at some point, I'll need to get off and the drone will be ready to go. Make sure. Let's see. I've got a couple more emails from folks. Let me get you guys back to the live eruption so you can see something a little better. Yeah, so you can see those old craters. There's one there. There's one there. These little black hills. Maybe a bit of one on this side here, although it's a little hard to tell. And let me check these incoming emails here. Let's see, initial eruption. Yeah, so a couple different places out there on the internet have caught the initial eruption, which we kind of just went through. Let's see, is this one? Is this going to open up? Okay, so here is, yeah, let me go ahead and show you this as well. This is a different view from a different view of the eruption site from a viewer, Kit Harris. And so let me pull this up real quick. I need to probably save this little picture and then pull that up. I don't want to pull it up in my email and have everyone looking at my emails. So let's try this view here. So this is from a viewer. And so this is looking, okay, now this is giving me a little bit better perspective on the whole thing. So I'm going to pull up this with the Grindavik one. And this is going to help me, I think, assuming this is correct, get a little better feel on exactly where. It's pretty much where, gosh, I had it pretty much pretty accurately located there where I put my little red volcano triangle. So there's the town Grindavik there. And then we've got Thorbjorn. So the webcam's here. We got the small hill just north of Grindavik. And so some of the lava is probably flowing again on the west side, some down the east side. And then the bigger hill next to the power plant, Sýringarfjall, and then the row of craters, Sundunukargigar, right here. And so this is where they're estimating the vent to be located. And that's looks good to me. You can actually see here, there's an old shield volcano that even shows up here. And so I can actually use that. So I'm going to move my little icon, just kind of eyeballing this thing. Yeah, I was pretty close. I was probably within maybe only a few hundred meters, if that, maybe 100 meters of that location. So that's great. So there's their view. And then this is me kind of amending my view a little bit there as well. So this, now I've turned it so we're looking to the south. And so there's that little shield volcano that he had. And so I think where I put mine there is pretty close. I think the craters we're looking at on the live view are those right there. So thank you to, let me make sure I give credit where credit's due, to Kit Harris. Thanks for sending that. Much appreciated. Thank you. Let's see what else. Anything else that's come in? Oh boy, a lot has just come in on my email. So quite overwhelmed. Let's see if any, some people are just saying, okay, here's someone with coordinates. Okay, so let's go ahead and try and put these coordinates in Google Earth. Because it'd be nice, I think we need to know moving forward exactly where this eruption is. Even though it's not really a point, it's more of a line. It'd be good to put that on here. So these are the coordinates someone just sent me. Let's see how that lines up with what we had. So they've got it a little further. That's quite a ways further north than I had it. That's okay. I mean, mine was just, and this was posted in a chat somewhere. So let me look through a couple more. Yeah, other people are sending me all sorts of things here, some of which is, okay, here's from the Met office, something on, okay, so the Met office actually is the one who gave these coordinates. So it was 10:17 UTC, so about 10 o'clock there. I guess right now there it's almost 11:30. Yeah, so this was their rough location, and they say the precise location will be confirmed as soon as they do a helicopter survey. So I'm going to leave mine there, but we'll keep that one up as well. It could be, either one of those or somewhere in between, but at least it gives us a good handle on more or less where those could be. So thank you to Jillian, and VW's Adventures had also sent me some data. Also, I bet there's some other folks here as well. I just haven't got to all theirs. Here's a link to some helicopter footage. So let's see if we can get that pulled up and see if that's helpful. Let me get you back to the live view. So this is from Ruve. We'll go ahead and turn that down. Yeah, some of the, I don't know that that's helicopter footage because it looks really stationary. So I'm guessing that's webcam footage. But one of the news outlets has that. So thanks, Camille, for sending that. Here's other people estimating the location. Martin. Some people are making me some great maps. It's good to have a good skill set from all of you. So here's a topo map someone just sent me. So we're looking at an eruption more or less somewhere up here. So there's a chance some of that could end up coming this way. These aren't the best contour lines to kind of interpret, and the resolution on these is 10 meters. So but it's rough, right? So you can see that, good chance of lava coming on either side of Hagafeld, which we already had talked about. Lava moving to the southeast over here, and then also potentially kind of going to the north a little bit. So for what it's worth, there's another little bit of information. Thank you to, oh, I lost that email. Whoops. Let's see if I can find that again. Too much going on. And I'm sure you guys have all sorts of great questions that I just haven't been able to get to. And I'm waiting on the drone folks too. Okay, back to my email. Sorry. When droning, let's look for the en echelon features. Yeah, absolutely. So what we might see is some like offsetting. Instead of just one continuous line, we might see some offset there, like in some staggered lines. Fiber option cable monitoring of the eruption. I'll look at that here in a second because it's got one from Matt Bill. Yeah, so I think I'll have to roll through, but those of you who sent me some things, thank you so much. There's just so much coming in. Full view of Fisher on new webcam. So is there a new webcam? Oh, this is a different view. Okay, let me show you guys this one. This is different. So now we're seeing, and I don't know exactly. Oh, this is from Silingrafeld. So now we're really close to, we're looking east from this hill that's right by the power plant and looking at the length of the eruption. That's pretty long. I mean, that's got to be at least 2 or 3 kilometers minimum, maybe more. Wow. Those of you who've been able to jump on the live stream, thanks so much. Those of you who've donated, I appreciate it. I would be doing this anyway, but I do appreciate that. Thank you. Yeah, so some of the fountains are quite tall. And yeah, so this is live. That looks like that could be, so there's a hill right here. I'm going to pull up the map on a different screen over here and try to get my bearings on this. It's just helpful to see the topography. Oh, okay, I think, okay. I'm going to try to recreate the view from Silingerfeld just using Google Earth and show you more or less what I think so what's funny is the Met Office location and my location, I think they're both right because I think this eruption is along such a long line that I think we're seeing it in both places. So notice there's a hill over here on the left side where the fissure looks like it's kind of dying out there. I'm going to show you, I'm going to take you out of that view real quick and show you this view. So the webcam's right here. The eruptive fissure is more or less right along the old crater row. And that hill that I showed you on the left side is this hill over here, which I don't have the name right now, but I believe it's that hill. So the fissure seems to end pretty close to that hill, extends across this view past the Icelandic Met Office preliminary location, and extends down to about where I have it located as well. So it's really running the length of that. So what we could do now is maybe get a preliminary length on this. So let's use our little measuring tools here and see if we can get a good bead on how long this thing is. So if we measure a line from more or less here, at least to something like that, that's about 2.13 miles, but in real units, it is 3.4 kilometers. So yeah, 3 to 4 kilometers length there. And so maybe we should, let's go ahead and plot that up as, let's actually plot that up as a line just so I have it on here. And we can change it moving forward. So I think it's running, and it's not a perfect straight line, right? It may be offset in places, but something about like that. And then, yeah, so let's save that and let's turn it, let's turn it orange, I don't know, and make it a little bit thicker. Something like that. Okay, so that's more or less what we're looking at. So that'll be helpful to me, at least kind of just moving forward. So yeah, I do like this other view, pretty nice. So it's actually, that's cool. It's actually, there's an old crater here on the left and it's erupting and it's spilling over that. You can see the flow coming off this old crater's rim. Yeah, this is pumping out a lot of lava. Just looking at the extent of the lava flow, knowing that we're only a little over an hour into this. What we can't see from this view is how much, because of the steam and gas here, is how much of the lava is going away from our view out in the other direction there. And then let me check and see. I'm going to see what our timeline is for getting our drone up to go look at this. And then you can see it ending here, another little crater down here. Again, once we get to daylight, which is many hours away, we'll have a better handle on this. So at this point, now that we have an eruption, some of the things we've been focusing on, we're no longer focusing on, like obviously, uplift and earthquake. Some of those things take a back seat now. And now we want to estimate, we want to look closely at topography. We want to estimate lava output. We want to estimate and measure lava speed and movement if we can. We can tell pretty easily from all the views here that it's very low viscosity. It's quite runny. Now, as it moves over steeper slopes and cools off a little bit, the lava will tend to run over itself and become more viscous and become what we call aa lava instead of pohoihoi lava. But we really I don't expect it to, in terms of the fountaining you're seeing here, which again could be upwards of 100 meters, a couple, maybe 300 feet. That's well within the range of this type of fountaining. It can even get higher than that. It can get easily up to 1,000 feet, 1,500 feet, so like 400 meters possibly. Now that because the fissure is so long, and we saw how it originated as one centralized location, and now it's lengthened because that magma supply has worked its way easily through this older crater fracture over here. I wouldn't expect the lava fountaining to really increase a lot more unless we're getting more magma into the system, if more magma is being injected. And so the GPS measurements will still be important to some degree because if it can maintain, the surface elevation is maintained while it's erupting, that suggests that you still have magma inflow into the system. If the magma input is decreasing, then we might actually see some deflation of the ground. The ground will actually sink or depress a little bit while this is happening. Someone said here 100 to 300 cubic, I'm assuming that's meters per second for initial outputs. I expect it to stabilize to lower levels. Yeah, that's true. A lot of them start out quite high and then they drop quite a bit. I'm sure you guys are, I kind of feel bad because I'm trying to run this show here, but I bet there's all sorts of cool things happening in the live chat with you guys. So I'm sure there's amazing things being discussed there. Let's see. I'm going to check one other thing here. So you guys look at that. Let's go back. I liked the other view a little better. Well, we can toggle between these two. And I don't know, maybe there was already a webcam up there. We can actually see a leading edge of this flow right here in the middle, this little lobe coming off this little crater rim. There's the helicopter. So you can see a helicopter flying pretty close there over the area. That's probably, again, I don't know for sure, but that's probably civil defense or some authority. That's not a news helicopter, I would guess. So let me also open up a tab because Amanda Joe is sending me great information and I appreciate her. Okay, so she says, and Amanda, I'm just now getting to some of your things, so thank you. She's hearing that the fissure's 3 kilometers long. Well, we measured 3.5, so that's pretty close. Magma is flowing under Grindavik, but coming out in town yet. She says not coming out in town. So I think what she means there is I don't think that we have any evidence that I've seen that I'm gonna maybe just send her a quick message just to clarify, because some of it could be the language translation back and forth. What did she send me here? Chief Police Officer of the Civil Defense says contractors been in the area working on the fences. The people are safe. They saw it happen. So there actually were people that were fairly close by when the event opened up. That's pretty amazing, and got to maybe witness some of that. And the police chief says they're safe. They saw it happen. We have already been in contact with them. They saw the light before the official announcement of the eruption had started. So they actually saw, the glow light up the sky before they knew anything else was happening. No employees are at the power plant, so that's good news. They're able to operate that power plant remotely. So that's pretty good. Let's see, what else do we have here? Let me see if she sent anything else, or was this other thing? Okay, so they have closed traffic. This is interesting, probably as a precaution. Let me take you to another view real quick here. Well, let me actually pull this up. So they've closed a few roads. So what's the best way to show this? There's no way to zoom in on this, is there? No, I'll just show you on the Google Earth map. That's fine. So a few roads that have been closed as a result of the eruption. The road from the airport over towards Reykjavik has been closed. This road, Road 43, obviously is closed because that's a very close eruptive site. So some of these were closed already, and then both roads east and west of Grindavik. So I'm assuming that the people that were there had already left because their curfew cutoff time was 9 p.m. So that turned out to be quite fortuitous that the eruption happened after that sort of curfew time, that evacuation time. So, but this is interesting here that they've actually shut this down. And I wonder, this is just me spitballing here. I wonder if I don't think it's so much hazards at this point, but traffic, right? Like you're gonna have a lot of people wanting to get a little bit closer, driving that road at night. And sometimes you can be proactive by just having people stay home there. So, so Amanda Joe clarified that someone in the Iceland community is saying that the magma is moving under the town again, they are saying. So, yeah, I don't know exactly where that data would come from. If we look at the earthquake data, is there anything significant in or around Grindavik? We did just have, how big's this earthquake? There's a good one. So it was a 4.1. That might have been the one that broke the whole thing open. That was about the right time, wasn't it? 11:25. That would be, no, that was only like half an hour ago. So that's, but let's see where that was located. Yeah. I mean, that's the center of activities there. So what that big earthquake could be, this is not good news. So we know we have an eruption. If you guys can see through all this, and I know it's a little hard, let me get rid of some of the smaller quakes. We know we have an eruption somewhere up here. But this earthquake a half an hour ago here could be the fissure system propagating and extending further to the southwest. I'm not saying that's what is happening, but that's a possibility that this magnitude 4 quake was a result of the fissure system and the volcano extending and becoming increasingly lengthy towards the southwest, which brings it closer to Grindavik. So hard to say how this is going to go. There's a chance that could continue. And that could continue to propagate right towards the town. We already know there's big fracture systems in town because that's why they had a lot of the collapse features there. And so this thing could lengthen north and south over the next few hours or days. But right now, yeah, it's too early to say. But that's one possible interpretation of that large magnitude 4 quake right there. The whole thing's definitely, I mean, you can see how this, I mean, if you were looking at this exact map yesterday for magnitude 2 and above, there's maybe like 1 or 2. So you can really see how this can escalate and quickly turn into a bigger thing. And we might even, if you watch these webcams long enough, you might also be able to see the fissure system lengthening. If you're looking at one end here like we are, I'm assuming that's the southwest end of the fissure system. You might actually over a few minutes or so be able to see that if it's lengthening towards that in that direction. Let's see, Amanda Joe, what are you saying now? As of now, they're saying that best guess looks as if lava is mostly going north and not south towards Grindavik. Well, that would be good news, and I hope that that's true. I'm just not totally convinced based on where it's at and what I'm seeing, based on where the vents opened up. Let's go back to this one real quick. Yeah, so that's looking east from Thorbjorn. And so it looks, and then you can't quite see the right side or the south side extent of the fissure system in that view, but you can see it here from Silingerfeld, this hill, looking this way. And it looks like, look right there, see these two? I don't think those were there a second ago. Let's watch this view for a few minutes. and see how this progresses, because these can happen pretty quickly, more or less in real time. So I'm focusing on that area right there. Yeah, Amanda Joe's not convinced of that either. It was just reported in the news. Just like any sort of, I don't know what the right word is, high stress developing story, there can be lots of things, information floated around quickly, and it's not all accurate. All I can say is, as a geologist, is now that this vent is open and lava is on the ground, I would expect the bulk of it to move south, which I know is not what anyone wants to hear, but I think that's where a lot of it's going to be headed. Whether it misses Grindavik or not, that remains to be seen. But I think it's headed more south than north, would be my take on that. Okay, a couple more. Oh, the hill. Yeah, the hill there. Thanks for Kit Harris. Yeah, Stora Skogafelt is the name of the hill that was just to the north. I knew that. I just had forgotten there. Someone sent me a picture from probably their apartment in Reykjavik, and it just shows the apartment, but some orange glow in the sky from the clouds. And then someone's got a different YouTube site. Oh, so here's a little different view. So this is from town looking, where are we at here? What does he say? This is a different view of the eruption. I don't think that's Grindavik. I think that's, yeah, that's the highway. So this is from the north looking to the south. You can see some of the cars there. This should be part of the highway that's closed or closing, or maybe it's closed further to the right or to the west. But yeah, wow, people even from, yeah, and I could probably figure out this view. Let me pull this away so you guys can enjoy that for a second. And let's see if we can, there's two hills there. Yeah, someone's probably already figured it out, but it's keeping me mildly entertained. Shoot, let's see what we can do here. Okay. Yeah, that's pretty impressive. And really you can see the full extent of it there, right? So that, we'd heard 3.5 kilometers. That's what we measured. Sounds like that's in the ballpark. Wow. Yeah, so we've got this. If you're just tuning in, we have an eruption that began maybe hour and a half ago in Iceland. It is north or northeast of Grindavik, maybe a few kilometers or so, right, maybe a kilometer and a half east of the power plant. Right now we're looking at a view. I'm trying to replicate. I wonder if that's Keflavik. That might be from Keflavik. I don't know. I'm trying to figure out what those two hills are there. I'm sure someone will figure it out and let me know. That's probably better than me futzing around for a few minutes. But great view there. Thank you. Let me give a couple shout outs to the folks that sent me. So Kit, Iwa, and David Johnson. Thanks for sending those. And then I got a couple other things that have popped up as well. So I'm just trying to find these as well. Here's a topographic map. Let's see what that is, if that's worthwhile. So different views. Yeah, someone sent me an email. Thank you, Scott. Scott's like, hey, good job with the drone this morning. He's like, tell me that you know there's an eruption going on. I do. Absolutely. It's a bit of chaos here. Let's see. A helicopter pic someone sent me. Let's see what this. Oh, wow. So there's some helicopter photos. So this is from the. Okay, so this is the Met Office update. This would be, yeah, within the last hour. First location of the fountain and the approximate length of the crack based on the reference information can be seen below. So this is the Coast Guard helicopter. So they estimated the length of the crack at about 2.8 kilometers, but like I said, it might be lengthening. So for comparison, the length of the fissure of the eruption at Litlehruter, so that was this summer's eruption, was much shorter, 8 to 900 meters. So the bigger the crack, definitely a larger volume of lava that's coming out. And so there's their mapped location of where it is. And I'm just going to pull mine up here and see if that jives pretty good. Yeah, so right along the Sununukur crater row. So I'm pretty close to the, I think it's lengthened though, based on what we've seen in the webcams. So, but that's a good first stab at it. Yeah, so that's the latest update there, but some really nice shots from the helicopter showing the extent of the flows reaching out. This is one of the parts of the helicopter here blocking the view. Okay, so let's see, let's go back to this view and see how things are looking. Sorry if I'm jumping around a little bit. A lot to digest. It's like mission control with NASA here. Gosh, I didn't watch that one long enough, but it looks like maybe it's lengthening a bit there. I need some marker or something on the screen. Let's see, and we got a couple other photos that Amanda Jo has sent me. Oh, these are similar ones. So the ones I just showed, that's what she sent me as well. She also sent me okay, she's saying people in Grindavik can breathe a sigh of relief for now. Armand Hoskudson, a volcanologist, says in an interview with Channel 2 that the residents of Grindavik can breathe easy for now. The crack seems to stretch north, and this means that the lava does not go down into Grindavik. He says the fissure has already worn off and opened, and another fissure has opened a little further north. He considers this to be 3 to 4 times bigger than the previous eruption at Reykjanes, but only half the size of Hodokron. Yeah, I don't know what to make of that data yet. Another fissure's opened a little further north. Let's see if we can, I don't know if any of the other webcams will show us a view of that or not. So let's try this one. So that view is not so awesome, but it does show some stuff. It's just not very clear. So this is where the previous eruption site was, and that glow's got to be all from the eruption, I would think. Let's see what else we can get here. Let's just go back to this one, I guess. Very nice footage there. So you can see the lava fountaining. Amanda Joe's sending me some more stuff. Yeah, some more. Yeah, you're gonna, I mean, we're all gonna be, oh, she sent her own photos. Well, I gotta show those, right? She's been so helpful. Amanda, we gotta show your photos. So let's go ahead and do it real quick. So here's some pictures she took from where she's staying outside of Reykjavik, I believe. So in the distance. So this is what it looks like from maybe, oh shoot, I don't know, 30, 40, 30 kilometers away, something like that. But yeah, pretty impressive glow there. So thanks for sending that. She's been very helpful during this whole thing. So, and she had her name watermarked on there. That's important. We'll obviously all be seeing lots of images over the next few days and weeks as this goes forward. Yeah, let me see if I can maybe get to, there's 14,000 people on this, which is awesome. Thanks so much for joining me. But let's see if we can also get a couple questions answered. And yeah, I've got more emails than I can shake a stick at right now. So now I've like asked for too much here. Yeah, I'm sending a note to my wife to bring me dinner because I may be in the office for a while. Let's see, a couple other pictures. Yeah, lots of people taking good pictures. I've got links to the drone and helicopter footage. Some of this stuff's redundant, but I appreciate all of you. And I don't have, I won't be able to thank all of you, but everyone who's sent something by email, thank you. Um, but maybe if it's like a news item, maybe don't send it because I think I'm getting plenty of things now. Let's see. What was I going to do here? Oh, let's look over here at this here. Yeah, I'm trying to find an update on scrolling through all the emails, trying to find an update on the drone I'm supposed to pilot and what the status is on that. So let me go to the right thread there. Okay. Send a quick text here. So do we think that fissure is lengthening is all? Is it getting longer? And really you're starting, I mean, look how with all the glow, look how the foreground is just so much more lit up with the snow on the ground. Like it's really it's really quite visible now. And let's go to, I know what I was going to do. I was going to pull up a different, I want to look at the 4 webcam view real quick. I'm just going to open a different window for that and see what we can see. Yeah. So here's the 4 cam view with the earthquakes. So you can see, well, this one's all fogged in. This top view is not good. This is the one we've been looking at, the bottom left one. I'm not familiar with this location, but some nice fountaining there. And then they're keeping track of the earthquake data as well. So each time one comes in, and you can see if you look at the earthquake data, let's actually look at that real quick. You can see a definite trend. At least I thought I spotted a trend there. As we look at these earthquakes over here, and don't look at the circles right now, if you can focus a bit on, whoops, what happened there? On all the earthquakes listed in the column on the right, what I want you to particularly pay attention to are the depths, which is that middle column. And a lot of them are shallow, right? 1.1, 1.3, 0.5, 2.3, 1.0, 1.1. So those shallower depths is something we didn't see over the last month or so. We weren't seeing those shallower quakes happening at all. Oh, I just got an update on our drone. Our good man Johan is stuck at a police checkpoint trying to get through. So yeah, so as you can imagine, you know, rallying and getting down there is a bit squirrely, and we'll see if he can get through. There's a chance that they're not letting people in. With good reason. I see the wisdom in that. So we'll have to just see how this plays out. But hopefully, we'll be able to get a drone up in the air sometime soon, and with me piloting it, thanks to the good folks at Nature Eye. No worries. No worries. I'm responding to the text he sent me about the checkpoint. Yeah, just mesmerizing. The only thing I wish we had here, team, that would just like be really awesome, and I think you all would really enjoy it. And I get why the webcams don't have audio because a lot of times the wind's blowing, but when you hear an eruption like this and you're this close to it, it's just this pulsating jet engine type of sound it's just fantastic. It's just an amazing thing to kind of listen to. So we're not hearing that. This one has zoom. Let's see. You can't move the camera though, can you? I think you just get the zoom on this here. Pretty incredible though. So we're seeing estimates that it's a lot more volume of magma than we've seen previously. So a lot more magma is erupting. Than we had seen in the previous 3 eruptions. And so the question is, can it sustain it? Can it sustain that supply of magma, or is it going to be a shorter lived eruption, with a high output, but one that doesn't last maybe quite as long? So we'll have to see how that plays out. Let's see. I'm going to go through. So you guys enjoy that. Let's go back to this one. I kind of like this view a little better. I don't know if that works for you. And this one doesn't seem to have. Oh, so this is a different webcam than. So we were using live from Iceland, but this is RUV. So this is the media outlets webcam. But that's a nice view. And let's keep track of that furthest extent to the right there, those vents. And let's see if we can see if those seem to be lengthening over time, or if they are just more or less staying put. And then I do want to get back to some questions here too. So even if we don't get the drone up, which would kind of suck, but I understand it. That's okay. I think we can still do some worthwhile things here and learn together. So I'm going to quickly go through some of these other emails that have come in. A lot of them are people, they know someone that's in Iceland and they've sent them photos of what's going on. So that's good. But I'm trying to be a little selective on exactly what I'm sharing with you and not trying to be too redundant. Some folks sharing news stories with me. And again, I appreciate everything people have sent. I'm just trying to parcel out what's what. This is kind of fun. So from Jessica in the Netherlands, you know how they have one of those apps that show you where all the planes are in the sky? So she just spotted on flight radar a flight that was diverted due to the eruption that was flying over it, apparently an Iceland Air flight from Copenhagen to Reykjavik. Just they diverted it around, and I'll show you real quick the little image here of that so you can see the little orange plane over here taking a U-turn. So it was headed for Reykjavik. They got word of the eruption. They did a U-turn, and I guess they're maybe swinging around this way or something. So that was kind of fun. Something different. Let's see, some more stuff from Amanda Jo, who's on the ground there, and we appreciate her giving us updates. She says, if I get the drone, keep in mind the drone ban. Yeah, so Amanda Jo and others, like I'm not. Nature Eye has someone on the ground that's working with the authorities, and they are well aware of the no-fly zone and the restricted zone, which has existed over the last month or so in Grindavik and some of these other areas. When we did the little flight this morning, we were well east of that area, so we did not go into that airspace. And Amanda, so I'm relying on them to make sure we're following the official protocols there. She also says it's forbidden to fly drones over the same area around Grindavik that was enforced. Yeah, this is stated on the website where it says a flight and drone ban has been defined on the. Okay, so then she sent me coordinates, and again, I'm going to defer. I know the guys at Nature Eye are going to have an eye on that. The police in Sudrnes have closed the area again at Grindavik. Only the contractors' workers are left who are working to close a hole in the dike at the Blue Lagoon. So Okay, thanks, Amanda Joe. Awesome. So yeah, so we'll just see what we're able to get there. Here's go back to this view. It's snowing on this camera, so that's why that one looks a little bit grainy. You might be able to see the flakes kind of passing in front of the fire fountains there. This one's a little better view, not snowing in this location. The land of fire and ice, Iceland, though, pretty impressive. Yeah, other folks, helicopter footage they've sent me. Peter from Holland wants to know, will this eruption last for hours or will it last for days? I don't know. I think this is certainly more than hours. Like this thing's, I doubt this thing will be over within, less than a day. I think this is going to go on for several days, maybe longer. Let's see. Other folks have sent me. Yeah, and I do want to get back to some of your questions, although I know that the chat's really long now, so I'll just be looking at the most recent stuff. So, yeah, more helicopter footage. Seen that. That's good, but thank you. Here's someone that says, don't know if you've seen this view yet. Oh, that's the one we just saw from somewhere to the north near Keflavik, maybe. But thanks for sending it. And yeah, and then other people sent me the topographic map, which is helpful. That'll definitely be something we'll want to look at moving forward, kind of playing into this. Linda wants to know, where's the eruption in relation to the bridge between the continents? Linda and Jim Stetson in Boston. It's a long ways from there. So yeah, that's not the same area. So the bridge between the continents, Linda and Jim and other good folks, is way over here. This is Reykjanesviti. There's a lighthouse over here, another geothermal power plant, and the bridge between the continents is right over here, one of these big cracks in the ground. So it is a good, dun, 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 dun. Oh, it was right about there. Yeah, it's like 13, 14 kilometers to the west. So the bridge between the continents is not in jeopardy. So yeah, Amanda Joe is hearing that it will last months, and yeah, I concur. This will be the 2023-2024 eruption, the fourth so far eruption in the Reykjanes Peninsula. Let me go back to some of you folks. And there's just so many people on here. It's great. Does the winter solstice have anything to do with eruptions? Asked Scott. No, there's no connection whatsoever to weather and volcanic eruptions. The tides have like a tiny influence, but like they'll just be like, it's like the straw that broke the camel's back kind of thing. So not really. And the winter solstice is still what? Today's the 18th, so we're 3 days away. So no, we're having an eruption now because we had magma move through the system. We re-injected more magma into this area, and the crust extended and stretched to its breaking point, which was reached this evening. So good question, though. Please give us one particular example of the sound, maybe not that particular, just one in general. Oh, so some creamy corn cob wants to know what the eruption would sound like. Oh boy, I have videos of it on my phone. Maybe I'm going to do this super old school fashioned real quick and see if this works. I'm going to pull up a video from 2022 of the eruption and hold it close to the microphone and hope that works. I know some of you tech people are like groaning right now because that's so ghetto, but bear with me. Let's see here. Oh, actually that won't work because my phone has the live stream on it. Actually, we could do this might work. Okay, that's me talking. Let's see. Okay, so I'll try real quick here. Someone wants to hear what the eruption sounds like. I mean, I'm sure there's, great footage you get there. I'm going to hold this close to the microphone. Let's see if this even works. But this is the 2022 eruption. You might hear a little bit of wind too. There you go. I don't know how that worked. Let's see. Got to open back a YouTube up again, see what you guys think of that. Did you guys hear that? Did that come across okay? But you could hear it. Oh, good. It sounded like a couple of you heard it. Make the sound with your voice. Funny guy. Um, yeah, so it's kind of a pulsating jet engine sound. It's almost like, oh, some of you didn't hear it. Okay. Sorry about that. Yeah, I'll put something up at some point. Yeah, so you can hear it. Okay, no one heard it. Okay, no one heard it. Sorry. Now I'm getting 1,000 people telling me no. But we tried there. Let me see. Actually, okay, I got an idea. I will just email that little video clip to myself and then I can open it up on the computer. How about that, technology people? This old guy is gonna do something that hopefully will work. And so let's give you that audio experience that you so richly deserve. Okay, so hopefully that comes through here in a second, and then we can see a couple more emails from folks. Okay, here's my little thing. All right, this is gonna work. Oh, please, is it gonna work? Maybe. Checking. Oh no, it's not gonna work. Wants me to get some video extension. If you want the geologist, sometimes you have to get the guy who's just not awesome with the computer. It's tough, I know. Let's see here. Hang with me, team. We're gonna get you the sound here, one way or another. Okay, so they emailed me a code. Dun, 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 dun. And then we open this up. Bada bing, bada bang. Just a moment. Magical things happening on the computer. Success. Hopefully. I just spent 99 cents on a HEVC video extension. So there's my level of commitment to the whole thing. Just so we can get this video up. I could have plugged my phone into the computer. Darn, didn't think of that. But it's going to happen. We're going to get it right here. Oh, I can hear it. Can you guys hear that? Oh, it's faint. Let me... Okay, let's pull that over here. And let's try it again. All right, so I'm going to play this again. I can hear it in my microphone, but I don't know if it's projecting to you good folks. So let's see. Let's go ahead and try it. All right, so that was a train wreck. I just you came for the geology and you got the comedy hour. Not sure why that didn't transmit across, but we'll have to figure that out at some point. Sorry, team. I tried. Next question. Please, let's see. Put your mic in your headphones. Yeah. Okay, so maybe, yeah, I think it's time to maybe do a quick update here for some new people that have just jumped on. We do have a lot of people here. So we have an eruption that began maybe about 2 hours ago. Can't even keep track of the time now. In Iceland, and let me show you the location of the eruption. So as best we can tell, that fissure system where it's erupting more or less along this orange line here, maybe not perfectly located, maybe not its full extent, but something in this area. So this is the area that has been, I don't know if we use the word predicted, but forecast by other scientists as well as myself as being the most likely location. It's pretty close to that with the intrusion. So on November 10th, the magma moved from this area over here. And since that time, this area has been inflating. And so the fact that we have the eruption happening here means that that magma supply went back into that same system that it created and had enough pressure to erupt at the surface. So we're seeing an eruption here. What we don't know yet, at least I don't know yet, is exactly where that lava is headed. So as those fountains of lava erupt and throw chunks up into the sky, let's go to the other view. That one's pretty good. That feeds lava flows that then emanate outward from the vents of the eruption, and then those start to move downhill. Now, luckily, the place is pretty flat for the most part, but there is some topography in here as well. So, and let's see if we can get back to one of the other views we had there. So you can see a couple different views there, but this one down here is probably the best. Yeah. Yeah, and so by erupting this volume of lava, low viscosity, these flows could reach Grindavik. You probably could model some of this once you get the output. It depends. It really depends on exactly, where, like, is some of it flowing down this path, some this path. There's lots of unknowns we don't know. There is a high point here. This is an old shield volcano. So you can see the crater here. So this point is a little bit higher. So the lava is probably not going to come up here. It's going to stay where the green mossy areas are here. So this brown, all the brown areas, I guess this is an easy way to think of it. Brown areas are high topographic regions. And so we're not likely to see the lava moving in those areas. And so we're going to see some of it moving down this path, possibly some this path. We might get some that moves down this saddle towards the power plant, but they have constructed a berm and maybe even up in here. I don't know exactly where that is, but they've got their wall pretty much finished. So it actually, I mean, if you think about it, some of this has worked out well. Like the location's not ideal, but some positives to take away from this, I guess, would be that we had all the commotion a month ago, and now that's given them 4 or 5 weeks to construct some structural defenses around the power plant and the Blue Lagoon. And those, I think, were pretty much done as of today. And so that's really helpful. So, and they have already, we're not dealing with an event that just suddenly popped up and having to evacuate 4,000 people in the middle of the night. These people were evacuated a while ago. And so that's been helpful too. So, yeah, that's kind of the status right now. I think what I might do here is answer a couple questions. There's just so many, I'm a little overwhelmed here. Let's see. let's see, how big are the chunks of lava being launched into the air? That's a really great question, and that came from Tom. So Tom, thank you for your question. The clots of lava being ejected are probably as big as beach balls, some of them, the bigger ones. They will cool off quite quickly as they get ejected into the air. So a lot of times when they hit the ground, they've mostly solidified. The problem is a lot of them are falling either right back into the vent or onto an open flow. And so they'll tend to stay hot and incandescent and molten longer. But my guess would be you probably have definitely, you know, basketball size to maybe even beach ball, maybe up to a meter would be in diameter, would be the high end there. But mostly what it's throwing out are smaller particles, what we call spatter. And if this continues, it's actually kind of ironic that you have these older cones and now it's reoccupied that same system. And so when this whole thing winds down, we may see bigger cones. You're actually superimposing this eruption onto the same volcanic vents that erupted 800 years ago, which is pretty remarkable. I mean, it happens, but it's just not with that kind of time difference, though. Like it's rare that you see a volcanic system erupt 800 years of quiescence, nothing happening, and then it erupts again in pretty much the same spot, which is pretty incredible. Yeah, so that gives you some idea for the size there, Tom. Is this a volcano or caldera? This is not a caldera. This is what we would call, so right now we're going to call, this is what I would call a fissure eruption. The lava is being emitted along a fracture or a series of fractures. So it's not centralized in one vent. Now, what this could evolve into, though, as we go forward, and this is what we've seen at other vents. So I'm going to take you away from the great view for a second and show you, let's go to this view here real quick. So the 2021 eruption, so I flew over that earlier today with the drone. Gosh, we just missed this by 12 hours, something like that, a little bit more than that, I guess. So these fissure eruptions, eventually a lot of the cracks get kind of clogged up with lava as the lava supply wanes towards the end of the event. It will tend to clog up certain parts of it. It gets a little stickier, the lava. It's not as hot and runny as it was at the beginning. And so eventually, inevitably, what happens is your fissure eruption becomes centralized, and usually there's just one key vent or crater, if you will, that becomes the main eruptive vent. So this is the 2021 eruptive area, lava field, and you can see the real big crater there that ended up kind of stealing the show and being the dominant vent towards the end of that eruption. If we look at the one from this summer, 2023 at Litlingstruter, you can see the lava, this lava flow started out as a crack, more or less oriented this way, but then later in that eruptive cycle, it formed just this one elongated crater here. And so what we would expect then to see in this system, and this could take, you know, weeks, maybe months, but it probably won't keep erupting like this over such a long trend indefinitely. So we'll probably see some of these fractures and vents sealing off, plugging up, no longer supplied with lava, and others that are maintained longer, those will eventually become a taller, bigger edifice over time. They'll actually create a bigger cone, if you will. But right now it's a fissure eruption. It could later produce these cones we sometimes call spatter cones. I suppose there's a chance it could really consolidate and form a bigger thing like a shield volcano. But right now, this is sort of what we're seeing at this point. I did want to find, lost one of my views, and I want to find it real quick here. So I want to look at that other view that we had from Ruve. Okay. So just some news stories here. If we're gonna, so the fissure has grown to about 4 kilometers and the lava flow has multiplied. So that's in line with what we were measuring. We had it about 3.5, so it's a little bit longer. Yeah, eruption from 10 o'clock this evening. So if you're just catching the news here, this is going to catch you up on things. There is a risk of lava flowing to Grindavik. Christian Jonsdottir, she's the head of the Icelandic Met Office, I believe. So worst possible location from this guy, we talked about that. Fissure is still getting longer. So that's what I was talking about earlier, is that this thing could extend on the south end and the north end, and get much longer. That's what we need to kind of beware of. Let's see if, not sure where this was taken from. Oh, this must be the helicopter. So you can see how extensive the lava field is there, though. The lava kind of pouring out. Take my first drink in 2 hours, a little sip of water. So there's a lava fountaining. This is some really good footage here from the helicopter. Yeah, that's pretty big there. That's I bet that's 100 meters or more, that fountaining right there. The extent of the flows. So you can see it's kind of flat ground. They're progressing. It's hard to tell because they're moving the camera around, but they're not progressing super fast. But I can't tell. I'm assuming you guys can hear the sound. It's probably mostly the helicopter. I don't know, but there's a little bit of a sound there. So, oh, that's nice. Let's watch that. That's nice. So there's one of those old cones, the nuclear craters, one of those old vents, and the lava just pouring over the top of it. That's pretty exquisite. That's awesome. So it's just recoding an older crater field. So there's that's probably the south extent right there at the bottom of the view. And now you can see with the winds that the ash, a little bit of fine ash and the gases are drifting a little bit to the east. Now I can hear the helicopter a little bit. I would guess that that lava flow is extending out maybe 0.5 kilometer, maybe a little bit more, at least on that side. So helicopter's probably getting the best footage it can. It's probably a bumpy view. It's a little bit shaky there. And let's see if there's anything else. Yeah, so pretty exciting. Yeah, we've seen that before. Fissures many times longer. We did some good work on our own to kind of make sure it was looking good. Yeah, so at the power plant, I'm not sure. Here's her talking about it's 4 kilometers long. The good news is that now it is now usually the ducts that die out first, not what we expect to happen in the future. Means are drawn to certain craters. Okay, that might be just a language translation thing there. What I was trying to do when I got on here originally was just find their webcam that they were using. There we go. That might be it. Yeah, this is the one we were looking for. Sorry, I just had to find that one again. Yeah, so I think that's a helpful view. I'm pretty certain that that's looking to the south because this is Seelingarfelt. So that's looking, or excuse me, that's southeast probably, that view there that we have. And let's see what this one looks like. So yeah, so this could go on for, like we said, days, weeks, maybe months, probably not years though. I'd say months would be on the long end. Let's see if there's any more questions that folks have that I could help Show a map of where it is. I think I showed the map. Yeah, some of you just catching up, apologize, but our eruption site somewhere in here. You can probably take that thing out now. And lava flow is coming out this way. Really what's happening is right now the lava is just extending on either side of this orange line. So the lava is flowing, over here, making kind of a lobes in this area, some on this area, and it's going to need to go for quite a bit longer before we start seeing it really advance, a significant distance away from the vent here. So it's going to take some time. So someone here, Tim, says the development of the seismic activity together with the measurements from GPS devices is indication the magma is moving southwest and the eruption could extend toward Grindavik. So we did have some concerns. Let's go back to that seismic data. And again, this is a whirlwind of just so much information to try to look at all at once. So when I started the live stream, that big orange circle was not there. That's the magnitude 4 quake. So there's a little bit zoomed in shot. 4.1 earthquake. The main thrust of the earthquake activity was up in this area. But what we might be seeing, and this is what I talked about, is that we might be seeing more earthquakes moving to the southwest towards Grindavik because the fissure system, the volcanic fissure, is lengthening to the southwest. It might also be lengthening at the other end. I can't say for sure, but that big earthquake is a pretty big indicator. You have an earthquake of that size. You had definite movement of the rocks. You've changed the cracks in the plumbing system. And so there's a good chance that things have progressed further to the southwest. So someone just asked, why don't they pour water from the sea into the cracks? It's really, it doesn't work well. There's so much lava. It's a volume problem. You would need just a fire hose or 20 fire hoses isn't enough when you're dealing with lava on this kind of volume and this magnitude. It's just not an effective way to cool. And it takes so much water to cool lava off completely. So it's one thing if you have like the end of a lava flow, that's come miles from or kilometers from the vent and it's slowing down. It's a totally different thing when you have magma that looks, or lava, excuse me, that looks like this stuff that's still quite molten, is very hot, and is coming out of the earth with that much volume and pressure. So Cindy, what direction is the wind blowing? It looks like based on this, it's blowing from the west to the east. So it's moving more or less. We're looking southeast. So it's either blowing to the northeast or straight to the east. I don't know how fast it's moving. I'm sure you can get on some sort of weather thing that would look at that. So yeah, and since there's so many folks on here, I don't have any moderators on here, so if people can just try to be relevant and be respectful. I've tried to build a YouTube community of just inquisitive, engaged people that like to learn. So I don't mind, you guys chatting with each other. And I haven't seen anything, questionable or whatever, but yeah, let's just be respectful here. They're saying lava could flow into Grindavik in a few hours. Yeah. Yeah, this could be, I mean, this is, let's give this moment and this event the respect and I don't know what the right word is there. The gravity that it deserves, because there's a really good chance, whether it's tonight or in the next few days as we go into the holiday season, that there could be a lot of homes and businesses, a fishing port, completely inundated by lava. That's quite possible at this point. There's no indication the lava is flowing towards the power plant yet. Even though it's close to the eruption, we should see some movement in that direction at some point. So, you've got a downhill slope down here towards the road and the power plant. We really would just need to see a good, and no one's made this yet, I'm sure, but if we had a map showing actually every single vent along that fissure, and the output of the lava along those vents, that would give us some indication. So I don't know if the power plant is more at risk through this little gap here or something coming in from the north. But again, they've got that berm in place, and so that's helpful. So some folks saying, let's see, Christian, most of the lava is flowing north away from Grindavik right now. Very small part of the southern part will be running southeast, but not towards Grindavik. So the hope there is that you can get some of it. If it's further up, I mean, if the more productive fissures and vents are up in this section, then you're going to get a lot of movement down in this direction. And I guess we could actually use the little tools here. So we might be seeing more of the flow coming this way, down these paths, and that would be great, right? If we could get, we've got this shield volcano here. So if there's more lava output at the north end of the system, then that would mean that we're going to get more flow of lava in that direction, which would be good for Grindavik. So, and then we could also, so we've got this little path here that might be exploited. But again, they put walls in here, right? There's a berm there. There's a berm somewhere over here that extends around the power plant. And so we may get some flow around the backside there. Yeah, so, oh, now I got to figure out how to take that out. Clear all the drawings. There we go. Always forget I have that little function on there. Okay, so why are the drones not allowed? It's a safety thing, I think, and it's, the drone operators have to be pretty close to the drones. So I think it's mainly a safety issue. And it's not that they're not allowed, they're just not allowed into certain areas, right? So not allowed directly over the eruptive sites. So I haven't been watching this continuously enough, but just my perception in looking at this view on and off the last little bit is that it might be extending a little bit in that direction. So what we really need is like a good aerial view, like top down, that shows this. Like these views are all from the ground because they're webcams, but we need something a little higher up. Let's see what else. See anything coming from Amanda Joe? At this time, the lava is estimated to be 2.5 kilometers from Grindavik, so that's close. It could get there in a couple days, depending on a lot of factors, but maybe by morning that would be pretty excessive. You'd need to direct a lot of the lava southward. I think the bigger threat to Grindavik now in the short term would be lava moving, or if the fissure system continues to lengthen and you've got lava directly erupting closer to town, that's going to be a bigger deal, I think. The better view from further south on YouTube, also called Salingafeld. So, okay, so which one is that on this one? No, is it one of the live from, let's see, that one's not going to be good. Wow, that's pretty impressive though, just the glow. So that's looking probably mostly looking more or less due west from the earlier eruption earlier this summer. Yeah, and this shows kind of where all their webcams are. This one I wouldn't expect would show anything. Yeah, so there's the edge of the power plant. This is looking west. The eruption's behind you in this view. So the Blue Lagoon and the power plant are just off the side of that. And I believe that's Keflavik in the distance there. So okay, so Ruve, Iceland. Someone says I should go to that. And where's their is there helicopter footage? Oh, there we go. Is this the same one we saw though? I think this might be the same one. Yeah, this was from earlier, but still pretty cool. Yeah. Yeah, so we looked at that before. I thought you meant they had like a newer one coming up. And I guess my drone team, boy, like they must be stuck in behind a big barricade or a throng of cars or whatever. That's too bad. Okay, from Amanda Joe, the seismic activity moving towards Grindavik. According to the latest measurements by the Met Office, the seismic activity is moving south towards Grindavik. The measured activity is just east of what they're calling the magma tunnel, which is the dike that formed on November 10th. This development of the seismic activity, together with measurements from GPS devices, is an indication the magma is moving to the southwest and the eruption could extend in the direction of Grindavik. So not news we want to hear. But that confirms kind of what we were seeing with some of the earthquake data here. Yeah, if we throw all the earthquakes in, I know that's messy. Actually, let's just look at the last, well, 6 hours is a lot. Let's look at the last two. So there's that 4. I'm just kind of looking at the data here. And 3 hours ago, 2 hours ago, 1 hour ago. Yeah, so Johan still stopped at the checkpoint trying to get through. I mean, you definitely can see just looking at the last hour, even though our eruption site is in this area, that more of the earthquakes are focused on this southwest end. So is it lengthening? It appears to be. The seismic data would seem to support that, but nothing to the north, right? So we're not seeing any lengthening up here. I don't know if these are too far away, this little cluster up here. Maybe not. Maybe it is lengthening a little bit to the north, but even so, there's like what 5 earthquakes on that end, and you can see, like 5 times as many on this end here. And what we'd want to see, let's look for shallow ones. Let's look at 5. So these are all 5 kilometers or less in depth. What if we take that down to 3? Okay, and if we take that down to like, let you go any less than 2, maybe 2's it. Yeah, so pretty shallow quakes. Yeah, and Amanda Joe says the police aren't letting anyone in. So that might be, yeah, she's saying the drone will not go up tonight, barring a special favor, is her guess. So I'm going to let Johan know that may not be in the cards for this evening. And these civil defense workers and the people, the police and such, they're just trying to get a handle on the whole thing. And so I think, we definitely don't want to make more work for them. Certainly, I don't want to do that if I can help it. I'm going to just send them a quick text here. Police aren't letting anyone in. Yeah, and then sometimes the way these things work is you got to reach some point of I guess stability or something that you know, okay, like it's still erupting, but we feel like it's it's reached a point where it's not going to surprise us. We kind of know what's going on. The lava's not going to suddenly pop up and form a new vent somewhere. And then when it gets to that point, a lot of times, especially in places like Iceland, they will allow the public to get closer and view it. And then that's the nice thing about Iceland is they realize that this is just as much a spectacle for tourists and visitors, excuse me, as it is for residents. And so they usually want to support that. It was quite a stark contrast to me going from the eruption in 2018 in Hawaii to the 2022 eruption in Iceland. It was just so different. 2018 in Hawaii, like you could not get anywhere. They had things closed. There was lots of patrols going by. And in 2022 in Iceland, it was pretty much, hey, park here, and we'll have some hiking people out on patrol to make sure you're okay and follow this path and enjoy the eruption and just kind of don't be stupid, but enjoy what you can enjoy. So, yeah, just a contrast there. So access to this will get better. It's just too new right now. There's just too many unknowns. And we have, unlike the 2022 eruption, we have some major infrastructure involved, right? We have the town, we have the power plant, things like that are important to consider. Let's see, I'm just gonna, on the other screen here, I'm gonna look at a few other views and see if I can find anything else that'll be helpful. And then Amanda Joe sent me a thing. Let's see if I can find that. Too many windows open. So one of the Icelandic volcanologists called this a typical Icelandic fissure eruption. I would agree with that. It's a long one though, like 4 kilometers. That's a healthy fissure. He says they're strong at the beginning, but by midday tomorrow it could be down to 2 or 3 craters that are active. He said this was 3 to 4 times bigger than the previous eruption on the Reykjanes Peninsula, but only half the size of the eruption at Hornafjörður, which was further inland in the central part of the country. Yeah, I would largely say I agree with that they do kind of come in with a bang and they're quite strong at the beginning, and then they can fizzle out a little bit and wane in terms of their strength over time. But it could sustain this level of intensity for a couple of days. And so I wouldn't say it's going to do that per se, but it could do that. That's a possibility that by midday tomorrow, it's consolidated to a few active vents, but we're not seeing this curtain of fire like we are now. So it's quite possible. Let's see. What else do we have going on here? So switch you guys over to, oh, we don't want to switch right now. That one's socked in with some snow or something, it looks like. And let's see. Someone said I should turn on the slow chat. Which I don't know how to do. All my live streams have been with far fewer people, so it's been a little bit different. Could they be keeping people away due to gases as well? Asked Nessa. No, I don't think gases. I mean, you don't want to be downwind of these gases. That is a hazard, so it is a very real hazard. Getting to this eruptive site would take some work right now. You'd have to get, I mean, there's snow on the ground. It's regular terrain. It's very cold outside. Um, so to get close enough for gases to be a problem, and most of this gas is going off to the east, sort of into the, the hills, and that there's no inhabitants in that area. So um, I think mainly they're just trying to keep all they don't know exactly where this is going to go. Is it the lava start going to flowing to the north? So if you let people come in and park cars and get out, and then the lava changes direction or something happens, then you've got a real crisis on your hand. We don't know yet if it's going to extend down to the town. So I think until we see, some behavior that we feel like we can anticipate, they probably aren't going to let people in there anytime soon. Lots of people mentioned a drone streaming. Can we see it, please? Oh, like that might have been the one I did this morning over the area. So you can check that. Yeah, I appreciate all the folks jumping on here. This is great. If you had Pierce Brosnan's phone number, believe me, I would be calling. Yeah, well, if all geologists were as good looking as him in the 90s, right? Then that'd be a win-win. Let's see, is it growing further south now again? I think the earthquake data shows that it might be, and it looks like it might be as well on this view. So a couple things we'd want to monitor here, and I don't know if I can do this with my eyeballs, but we would want to monitor fountain height. So how high are these fire fountains or these lava fountains going up into the sky over time? So we'd want to see if they're sustaining themselves over time, especially if we see it lengthening, because if it lengthens and the lava fountaining is still at the same height, that suggests a highly pressurized system. Because as you lengthen the system, you would expect the pressure to drop because you're distributing it over a bigger area. So that's what I would kind of look for. And again, I don't have access to the data, and it's probably too soon for us to, you can't watch it for 5 minutes and really make a solid inference there. Let's see, anything else here that folks are asking about? My view is rewound 15 minutes. I don't even know why it would be doing that. Please click the live button. Okay, I think we're good. We good? Hover mouse on YouTube video and press the gray light button on the bottom left. All right, so I'm trying to. Is it not live? How do I make it live? Let's see, you need to go live on your feed. Yeah, don't know why it's not live there, team. It seems to be working on my end. Oh, there we go. Is that better? I think I just got it. Okay, so I think I must have fixed it there. Sorry about that. I'm new to a lot of this stuff, so move your mouse over the video and click live. Oh, I got it. Okay, sorry. I had two screens up. My apologies. Right. Now it's live. My bad. Thanks for being patient with me there, team. Steep learning curve for sure. So Amanda Joe, another bit of information she's giving us. Everyone is being kept away for safety. Only emergency crews are allowed in. Thank you. That's kind of what I thought. This is announced as not a tourist eruption, and no one will be allowed near it anytime soon. And I agree. This is not the time to be letting people with their cameras and phones go trying flocking into this area to try to get some sort of picture or footage. So so we just all need to kind of let this thing evolve, see what happens. She's also saying that it's now estimated it's 2 kilometers from Grindavik. So it was 2.5 earlier. So it is creeping closer. And I don't know if that is, and Amanda Joe, if you can clarify if that's lava flowing that had already erupted, that's flowing downhill towards Grindavik, or is it the fissure system that's lengthening? That would be good to know. She also sent me, and I super appreciate this. She sent me a news story here. Let me pull this over here for you guys. Info on filling in the gap. Okay, yeah. So this is this current? This was, no, this was, oh, this is current. Allowed to cut the road, now fill the gap. Let's read this. Oh, they've been given the green light. It's that it is necessary to break the road, and they have already started pushing material into the pass. Oh, okay. So they are going to bulldoze and move the road around because the road makes a gap. Does that make sense to everyone? So allowing the road to exist, they put up these berms. That's what's shown in black here. But one, you think of it like a fortress, right? Two breaks in the fortress or the wall is allowing the road these 2 places here. So now it sounds like they've been given the green light to complete this berm or wall across the road. Yeah, so they're going to probably start doing that probably ASAP, I would guess. Although it's possible front lava flowing. Yeah, so that makes sense. So thanks for sending that, Amanda. Hopefully I explained that okay. So here's the red line over here is where the active eruption's taking place. The big orange arrow is one possible path that the lava could take. And if you leave that little gap open where the road is, the lava can just go right in there, and then it's into the power plant and into the Blue Lagoon, which would be really bad. And then similarly, this one's less likely, but the one at the south, just because the slope is to the south, but it's less likely, but you maybe could get something, I don't know, but you would less likely have something coming in from the south and flowing to the north. But they're probably going to maybe breach that one as well. But this one's probably the main focus right now. So thanks for sending that little story along, Amanda. So you can see the weather, it's kind of getting, the weather's kind of socking in a little bit there, and that's obscuring the really nice views that we had. In fact, on some of these webcams, it's just, there you go. Welcome to Iceland. An orange or red glow on the camera. And then this one here. So at any rate, I'm probably gonna bow out of the live stream here soon, although I'll be following this a lot this evening. Oh, the crack is estimated at 2 kilometers from town, Amanda says. So here's the article. Thanks for updating me. Let's see if I can pull this up. Oh, that's that story. Here we go. So this is the story she was referencing. And, you can get, there's a couple different news agencies in Iceland if you want to try to stay up to date with some of this stuff yourself. So there's mbl.ice, there's ruv.ice. There's also, there's a Reykjavik Grapevine or Grapevine Reykjavik, but these are probably the main ones here. Yep. Oh, and here's a picture of the break in the road, right? Thanks, Amanda. So let's see, crack moves closer to Grindavik. So this is all being updated, in the last hour for sure. The fissure that opened at the Sundanuku crater is now 2 kilometers from Grindavik, or the road. It's growing rapidly. Yeah, so it's not excluded that it will continue to expand to the southwest. So it could continue to go to the southwest, but they're not sure. Yeah, at least the crack is still on its way. There's no telling now when it will stop lengthening. Yeah, and this fissure, this vent system, this fissure eruption is 4 times longer than the Litli Hrutur eruption in July. So this is much bigger. It's much more lengthy. It's pumping out a lot more. He says it's hard to measure lava flow right now. It's estimated 100 to 200 cubic meters per second. Yeah, pretty incredible. So yeah, depending on where you're at time-wise, it's evening time here. It's middle of the night there in Iceland. The situation can definitely evolve quite quickly. Getting harder to see on the webcam as much of anything. So, it might be good to just kind of watch the earthquakes. That might be helpful to see how the earthquakes are progressing over time. And you can use, if you go to let's see, let me find the right site for you if you want to use this. The Live from Iceland site has that 4-camera view. But yeah, the weather's too socked in. But they also have the earthquakes down here as well. So that may be helpful. Yeah, and then they have their own little chat there as well. So when I sign off here at some point, if you're still wanting to engage with folks and track things, then Live from Iceland would be a good place because they've got a nice webcam view. They've got moderators here in the chat. And that would be the first place I would probably look. If I go to bed tonight, I would check this, and then I would start checking some of the Iceland news sites as well, and maybe the earthquake one. And of course, Amanda Joe sends me messages, so that's helpful. So I think I'm going to have to probably sign off for now, but I appreciate everyone jumping on. Maybe if something big evolves later tonight, I will jump back on. Otherwise, I might come in as soon as I can in the morning, and we'll see kind of where we're at with this. But yeah, the views are pretty much gone, at least for now. I don't know what the weather looks like going forward, but we should definitely be thinking about the folks in Grindavik, hope for a good outcome. The volcanic show is amazing and it's quite a spectacle, but we should also temper that with the thoughts and the reality that there's a whole town immediately downhill of this tremendously large eruption that's taking place. And so with that, I'll go ahead and sign off. Thanks for all of you that jumped on. Thanks for your contributions, whether it was financial or providing information or some of the other data that was helpful here. I still have a ton of emails to probably look through this evening, but I will for sure join you. I'll just probably jump on, so don't look for an announcement. Make sure you've subscribed to my channel and the little bell button's filled in. That way, if I jump on and do a live stream, you'll get notified right away. So we'll go from there. So Amanda Joe, you'll keep me posted, I'm sure, but your family and your well-being is foremost of importance here. Yeah, sounds like some bad weather's coming in, some folks are saying. Someone said drone ban seems to have been lifted. If I get the go-ahead with the drone company Nature Eye, I'll do that. So that could happen in the next few hours as well. We'll just kind of see where this goes. But thanks again, everyone, for jumping on. Hope you're well. Let's enjoy this eruption from afar as best we can, but let's also keep the good folks in Iceland in mind as well. So with that, I'll go ahead and sign off, and thanks so much. Have a good evening, be well, and take care.